three main things we're going to cover is how do we burn these down in the spring, and then what type of weed control do they have, or do they provide throughout the growing season on winter annuals, but also on summer annual weeds, and then also how do they relate to some of our residual herbicides, and is there any antagonism from those. So if you'll turn to page 18, I believe, you'll see a title page that says cover crops and weed management, and then turn to the next page, and this is kind of that first topic, which is how do we burn these down in the spring. So you'll see that we have 7 different species of cover crops: wheat, cereal rye, Italian rye, crimson clover, hairy vetch, cereal rye vetch, and winter pea. So those just kind of represent some popular ones that people have been trying across some of our geographies. This plot that we took this data off of has been terminated. We're done taking the data off of it. We applied these at different timings, and then we've tilled it up recently. So we don't get to look at that, unfortunately, just the way the timing is, but you can kind of take a look at these treatments and what kind of control we had. You can see down there at the bottom, the most consistent thing that we used on this was gramoxone mixed with a couple other things, 2,4-D and atrazine. So that gives you a pretty consistent option for burning down some of these cover crops in the spring. That's our 2013 data on that first page. If you'll turn to the next page, this will show you 2014 data. And these are both just visual ratings, so percent control when we evaluated these cover crop treatments. 28 days, 21 days, and 28 days in 2014 after the treatment was done. So that just kind of shows you there. I want to talk a little more specifically about one of these in particular, which is annual ryegrass, which has been pretty popular across the Midwest for a cover crop because of its ease of establishment, deep rooting base. And we need to kind of clear up, first off, a lot of people call this annual ryegrass, but its Latin name, Lolium multiflorum, is also Italian ryegrass. So we need to understand that those are the same things and get back to that Latin name for referring to it. That way there's no confusion. You can kind of take a look at those pictures. Those are 4x rates of these 4 different herbicides, and it shows you some resistance that's already present in the state of Missouri to this species. So we need to be mindful of that. If you'll flip one page past those pictures and take a look at these different treatments that we've used to control this trial, we did not have the multiple species. It was all just ryegrass. So we're looking at how to best control this problematic cover crop. So if we take a look at this data from 2013, you can see this page that I'm looking at right now, the different treatments that we used to control at 3 different timings. You can see that the timeliness of your application is very important. We need to try to get out as early as we can and get this controlled once you have reached the biomass that's desirable for you. So it's just important we get out early. You need to remember that, and whatever treatment you use, whatever herbicide you're going to use, you need to understand the smaller that this is, the better. So let's keep that in mind. Switching gears now onto the second topic, which I'm going to talk about.
He kept looking at me. He was looking at me over and over to see if I was going to interrupt him again. So I did the first time, so I just put this in here because he doesn't need to say this, but I can say it. I've said it numerous times, over and over. Ryegrass is one of the world's worst herbicide-resistant weeds. And as a weed scientist, I just kind of look at that and say, gosh, it doesn't sound to me like it's a good idea to plant something that's one of the world's worst herbicide-resistant weeds. So it is glyphosate-resistant in a lot of states and in a lot of countries. Not in Missouri that I know about yet. We did that little test. That's the only ryegrass population I've ever screened. And I think it was, Anthony, did you send me that, I think? I'm not sure. Somebody down there. And anyway, you know, so I have not done extensive work on what the situation is with our ryegrass populations in Missouri. But we screened one population and it's multiple resistant to ACCase and ALS herbicides. Not glyphosate, okay, but it is resistant to glyphosate in a lot of other southern states, and it's one I really think we want to be aware of and really think about, okay? So I knew